young, grown up, and will be in college, inshallah, and would like to listen to one of our graduates. He left the school year, what, 2007? MashaAllah, about 11 years ago. So I have the honor and privilege to introduce our speaker, who's probably half of my age, like maybe one of my children. Abdel Nasser Rashid, he spent several years at Universal here, graduated 2007, and he went from here to attend Harvard School, and he studied social study and computer sciences. He served as the president of Muslim Student Association and Student for Justice for Palestine. Abdel Nasser is now you see, we're not only graduating lawyer and physician and surgeon and businessman, we're graduating politician too. So give him a hand. So he's running for the county commissioner in the 17th district. And matter of fact, I voted for him in the primary. So anybody in his district, if you see his name, you should vote for him on November 4th, November 6th, Tuesday, always first Tuesday of November. So make sure, no bribe, we don't bribe here like other countries to buy a vote, it's a free. Okay. He served also as the chief of staff for the county clerk, David Orr. Prior to that, he was the clerk or a policy director. So Abdel Nasser also has worked in the immigration right movement, as well as a senior role on the campaign of Jesus Chuy Garcia. He didn't win, but he was very close. Actually, he was very close to it. He worked also for Bernie Sanders when he was running for president, and would like to listen to word of advice. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Dear class of 2018, parents, families, teachers, administrators, board members, and alumni, it is my honor and privilege to be here with you today in celebration of a major educational milestone. The last time I was on the stage, as Dr. Amin mentioned, I myself was a Universal graduate back in 2007. When these students were in second grade. As I began thinking about what I'd like to share with you today, it occurred to me that these seniors are 17 and 18 years old. And it struck me just how much has happened during the course of their lives. They were infants when George W. Bush was elected president, and when all of America was worried about what they're going to do with the boxes of batteries and water they bought in preparation for Y2K. They were toddlers when 9/11 changed the world. In pre-K, they watched as their parents and their older siblings and cousins went crazy over the hottest phone on the market, the Motorola Razr. At a time when social media was just AOL Instant Messenger and MySpace was barely getting started. In third grade, as they learned multiplication and division, Barack Obama was elected president of the United States. A time of hope and a time of anxiety, as America was hit with one of the most catastrophic financial crises since the Great Depression. As these seniors entered middle school, the Arab world erupted in revolution. Syrian protesters were met by mass murder by the Assad regime. Gaza witnessed 2 massacres, while the flotilla to break Israel's siege captured the world's imagination. And they were juniors preparing for the ACT and the SATs when Donald Trump was elected president. All in the last 18 years. It's dizzying, isn't it? It got me thinking, so let's jump back another 18 years. Let's go from 2000 to 1982. You know, in the 1980s, you could smoke on planes. That wasn't banned until the 1990s. And in 1984, the Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl, and they gave us the Super Bowl shuffle. Of course, many of us know 1982 as a period during the Lebanese Civil War when the massacres at Sabra and Shatila happened. Here in America, it was the Reagan era, a time that saw us begin to roll back many of the New Deal policies that FDR put into place, which had helped create a social safety net for working and middle-class families. During the 80s, we saw tax cuts for the wealthy, saw deregulation, cuts to domestic program while military spending increased dramatically, while the gap between the rich and the poor widened dramatically, which is part of the genesis for many of the challenges we face in America today. Well, under Reagan, America also passed an immigration bill that gave nearly 3 million undocumented immigrants U.S. citizenship. And let's go back another 18 years. I'm skipping a lot, of course, but let's go to 1964. That was the year the Civil Rights Act became law. Landmark legislation to end discrimination and segregation in schools, in housing, in employment, and in political participation. And in 1967, President Lyndon Johnson appointed the Kerner Commission. It was named after Otto Kerner, who at that time was the governor of Illinois, and who was the chair of this commission. The commission was tasked with examining the race riots of the 1960s and providing recommendations on how to address the racial divisions and the racial disparities that had divided America and created such deep unrest. The commission's report concluded, only a commitment to national action on an unprecedented scale can shape a future compatible with the historic ideals of American society. It recommended that the American federal government make major investments in job creation, in education, in social safety net programs, and in housing. And guess what? To a significant degree, America did just that. Within just 10 years of the Kerner Commission, and I quote the Learning Policy Institute, childhood poverty was reduced by half during the 1960s, from 27 to 14%. The Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965 targeted resources to communities with the most need, recognizing that where a child grows up should not determine where they end up. Employment and welfare support reduced childhood poverty to levels about 60% of what they are today, and they greatly improved children's access to healthcare. The Policy Institute continues, these investments paid off in measurable ways. For a brief period in the mid-1970s, Black and Latino high school graduates attended college at the same rate as whites, the only time this has ever occurred. Let me repeat that. I found this incredibly profound. There was a time in the 1960s when childhood poverty in the United States was 40% lower than what it is today in 2018. And there was a time in the 1970s when Black and Latino students went to college at the same rate that white students did. Too often, we're led to believe that the racial disparities that exist and the disparities between rich and poor are simply inconvenient facts. This is how it's always been, right? In reality, as you can see, these are choices we make as a society and as institutions, and choices that we must renew generation after generation. Now, it would be absurd, of course, for me to try to summarize modern America in 10 to 15 minutes. There's a lot I skipped over, good and bad. So let me bring this full circle. What do the next 18 years hold? What will our condition be? Seniors, one thing we've learned from the Never Again movement that's grown out of these horrifying school shootings is that you are leaders in the fight to bring gun control reform to this country. And in Florida, a state where the National Rifle Association, the NRA, has astonishing influence, your peers were able to lobby the legislature to pass stricter gun control laws. Organizing together, you've done more than anyone before to take on one of the most powerful lobbies in America. That's no small feat. And today, more than ever, as the Kerner Commission said, only a commitment to national action on an unprecedented scale can shape a future compatible with the historic ideals of American society. So as you enter an incredibly exciting and formative time in your life, college, remember that knowledge and action are a pair. They go hand in hand. In our public lives and in our personal lives, we have to have ilm, knowledge, and we have to have amal, action. College is a time to acquire critical information, to gain perspective, to learn the sciences, and to learn history, to deepen your understanding of your deen, to work on your spirituality. It's also a time to pay close attention to the world around you and to the social, political, and economic forces shaping your future. I can't predict where we'll be in 18 years, but what I can say is that if we stay alert, if we stay involved, we will build a world that's better for everyone, child and elderly, Black, white, Latino, Asian, and Arab, Democrat and Republican, immigrant and native-born, Muslim, Christian, and Jew. With Allah's help, you can create a world that's dramatically different than the one we live in today. In 18 years, you'll be the leaders of this community and of this country in every field. And in fact, in 18 years, you'll all be constitutionally eligible to run for US president. And God knows that even today, you're more qualified to hold that office than the guy who currently occupies it. So as you enter college, whether near or far away, and as you form new friendships and social circles and choose your educational and your career paths, I want to leave you with two pieces of advice. The first is that as you explore your academic and career interests, go after impact, and let that influence your choice of career. Too often we start by being career-oriented. And we usually have a good line like, I want to help you. Which is a good reason to be a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, or a public servant, or a lawyer. All of those involve helping people. But impact is more concrete. It's more real. I want to make sure our justice system is fair, especially in the way that it treats poor people and people of color. I want to be part of the change needed to bring quality healthcare to everyone, treating it as a right rather than a privilege. I want to educate and guide hundreds of students and be there during the formative time of their life. I want to design cities and towns that encourage community building and cohesion. These are impactful goals, and there are many more. Use your time in college to think hard about where you can have the greatest impact. And let that impact help you determine your career path. The second piece of advice is one that I heard from Mr. Zabzoud many years ago, and that has really stuck with me. When Mr. Zabzoud was leaving Syria to come to the United States, he asked his sheikh for some advice as he was entering a new chapter of his life. And his sheikh told him, he recited to him Ayah 28 of Surah Al-Kahf, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he says, وَاصْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ يُرِيدُونَ وَجْهَهُ وَلَا تَعْدُ عَيْنَاكَ عَنْهُمْ تُرِيدُ زِينَةَ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَلَا تُطِعْ مَنْ أَغْفَلْنَا قَلْبَهُ عَنْ ذِكْرِنَا وَاتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ وَكَانَ أَمْرُهُ فُرُطًا. And keep yourself patiently with those who call on their Lord morning and evening, seeking His countenance. And let not your eyes overlook them, desiring the pomp and glitter of the life of this world. And obey not him whose heart we have made heedless of our remembrance, and who follows his own lusts, and whose affair has been lost. And finally, to end, I'm here on commencement, of course, to celebrate and congratulate the class of 2018 on their achievements, but I would be remiss not to say a word about the teachers in this room. Those given the incredible responsibility of transmitting knowledge from generation to generation of students. Nearly 18 years ago, I became a student here at Universal, and I had the privilege of being taught by phenomenal teachers. Mr. Abdullah, Mrs. Ahdoud, Mrs. Martini, Mrs. Hamay, Mrs. Sayyid, Mr. Ami. my sister, Mr. Jarad, Mr. Farid, and Mr. Ali. All of them are still here at Universal. And I was very happy to see Mrs. Fatima in the audience. To all of you and to all teachers, I say thank you. The teaching profession is a noble profession. And in fact, the pedigree of a teacher is captured in this saying that rings very true to me. The saying goes, in a completely rational society, the best of us would be teachers, and the rest of us would have to settle for something less. Once again, congratulations to the class of 2018 on your achievements. May Allah continue to grant you success and tawfiq in the next chapters of your life. For the many senior girls who are interning on my campaign and who are graduating today, I'll see you this summer, inshallah. Boys, I hope you'll join us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa